Introduce yourself, Mais.
Hello everyone, I am Mais. I'm also working on the extensions team along with alongside Darren. I'm an open source engineer in Invertase and a Flutter JDE.
Perfect. Okay, so to give a short overview of what we're going to be doing here, we prepared a few examples of extensions with a small UI to show and inspire for the Firebase Builders program what you can do and what you can achieve with Firebase extensions. And we'll talk through what an extension is in terms of how to install it, how to configure, and then how to apply to your own projects. So in this example, we're going to be showing you how to send an email automatically. We're going to translate data in real time. We can transcribe audio by using cloud storage. We're going to comment moderation. We're also going to show how you can use the Cloud Vision API to label images automatically using that AI. We'll give a little run through the Firebase Builders program, and we've collected a load of resources that you can use at the end for inspiration. So just to begin with, for those who don't know, Firebase Extensions is a new product in Firebase, and it went from beta in May this year. And now anyone around the world can develop their own extensions. We've already got a large collection from publishers around the world, as well in-house Firebase development and Google team development. So just to give an idea of what this is, a lot of you may be familiar with things like authentication, cloud Firestore, cloud storage, and extensions essentially allows collaboration with all of these different products. And you'll see in these examples how we use authentication with an extension, cloud Firestore with an extension, and then cloud storage as well. So although this is not going to focus on cloud triggers specifically, we want to show how using the magic of extensions, you don't need to know how to code in that particular platform. This screenshot is showing you essentially what happens under the hood when you install an extension. And basically an extension is just a selection of pre-built cloud functions that allow you to provide your own configuration for different scenarios. And if you were ever to check on your console code platform, it pretty much look like this. As you can see, this trigger in this example is HTTP. And we'll show here how using these cloud functions and what is known as a background function, you can connect automatically to Firestore authentication and all the rest of the events. Okay, so I'm going to show you the extensions platform to begin with. And if you go to extensions.dev, you'll see here there are a large selection of different types of extensions. For the Builders program, as we'll go through earlier, the AI, the more fanciful and new ones that we've seen at the moment. And we've got everything from Google development, Firebase, Invertase, and all these different providers. So when you're looking for inspiration, there are a whole load of different lists and ideas that you can come up with. And as we'll show, all of these are basically installable. So to give an example of what happens when you install a Firebase extension, if we were to take, so one of my favorite ones from what we're going to be doing here, we're going to search for translations. And you can see here, made by the Firebase team, is an extension called Translate Text in Firestore. We can click here to see the details of this. On here, you'll get an explanation of how to use this extension, how this applies in terms of, so for example, this can provide multiple collections for translations. You can do multiple translations at the same time. And it'll also show you the parameters that you need. For this extension, all we need is a collection path. So when you add a new document, we'll say if it's in this particular collection, the extension is automatically going to then provide updates on this collection. We're going to provide an input field name, which is going to be the text that you would like to translate. And then finally, an area where you want to get the output. And this is going to contain all the different types of languages that you've asked for. And so let's just do a quick install and see what this looks like. I'm going to select it, choose my project. And here, I already have an instance which has been deployed for this example. And you can see here that this is asking what I'd like to call it. It's important to note here that you can actually install multiple extensions of the same type. If I wanted an turn English to Spanish, I can I can add another extension that will do, say, English to Italian, and I can do a different installation with different configuration. So this is just asking me which particular naming convention would I like for this installation. Next, we look at review billing and usage, and it basically goes through the disclaimer. Extensions under the hood are, as I mentioned earlier, just functions that have already been created by a publisher, and it will install a copy of that function onto your GCP instance. In this case, it's explaining that the standard pricing for a function applies as though you'd have written one yourself. It's going to then explain what APIs we're going to use here. And one of the main reasons we use this in this example is because it's using the Cloud Translation API, which is the GCP products. And it shows that in this example, a lot of extensions use features and services that are already within GCP, and it will utilize these based on your GCP project. And so here it's just explaining what API is going to be called and why we need to use them. It's also going to create two cloud functions. So based on the cloud functions that said they already pre-built and then they're added to your project, we're going to introduce two new ones to the project that we've selected, and it's FS Translate, which is going to handle the translations. Just to explain why this is important, we've got documentation on various types of triggers, and these background triggers are essentially what Firebase extension functions are built on. And these will automatically update, and this is pre-written in the code. In this case, a Firestore trigger. What we can do is we can automatically create, update, delete, and write, and then write custom code based on that event firing. In this example, translate text, this FS Translate is going to watch your collection that you specified, execute the trigger when a document's updated, and then it's going to add the translations for the information we've asked for. FS Translate Backfill, this function is one that when the extension is installed, if there are any existing documents, this function is going to go backfill all of the current data you've got, so that you don't have to, if you want to install an extension when you've already got data, it'll ensure that all of your data is up to sync when it's first installed. So an important feature of Firebase Extensions as well is the security measures that it puts in. Now, when you typically give access to your Firestore database or your GCP instance, you'll have what's known as a service account, and that will allow certain users certain access to different parts of your system. Say, for example, if you only want certain users to handle your database, then you can give them permissions to write, otherwise this won't be allowed. And what you do with Firebase extensions is, when the developers are making them, it will provide the necessary access for the extension to call on your behalf. In this instance, we've got the Cloud Data Store user and the enqueuer, and this basically means that it's going to allow the extension to write to the database on your behalf. Without this, we'll probably get an authentication error. And so now we come on to the configuration section. This is the location where your functions are going to be installed. And these are the 4 languages that we're going to use. For this one, you can look up language codes, and there's a full list. This is just a current list, and this means that when we do translate, we're going to get the Spanish, German, and French versions of our text that we've added. The collection path can set what you want. In this case, put messages, and any documents added to the messages collection will be added. We could even say if you wanted a sub-collection, you can even do this to make sure that it will then just watch the sub-collection and not the top-level document. We want the input field name, which in this case is import, but this is basically the text field that we're going to translate. And then this is the name of the document. This is the field within the document that's going to contain our translations for each of these language translations. And then, yes, we want to translate existing documents, which is the backfill text. So now that we know how to install an extension, if I install this, I've got one pre-prepared. So I'll go to my extensions. And if I scroll down, I can see translate text in Firestore. And if I click on manage here, I can see my configuration that suits my application. In this case, I'm going to watch a collection called comments, and any field that's message is going to provide for these translated languages. So let's give that a quick go. For this example, I've created a small Vite app, which is currently running on this server. So I'll just spin it up. I will, I'll just log in. Actually, so to start with, even though we've gone through translations, first we need to log in. And what I've done for another extension is that I've also included one called trigger email from Firestore. The same rules apply. It's going to react to a document being added. And in this example, we have one already created, which here includes my details. This is my email server. This is the password I've added, and this is the document we're going to watch. And this means that for any emails that are added, it's going to automatically trigger an email. So if I go to my application, I'm going to sign in with my email address. And by simply clicking sign in, I'll log into my application. And if we check my database, we'll notice that. Let's go down to emails. And what day is it today, length? As you can see, it's updating in real time here. So what's happened here is that we've simply installed an extension, and based on one bit of business logic, I have asked my database for auto functions. Let's see. I've created this small function, and it's called send email. And it's going to watch for the user on create trigger. Now, this isn't necessary for sending an email in this case. I'm showing two purposes that you can use this for. So you could actually use this trigger, which I've done here, which will automatically, when a new user is added, it will add a document to the Firestore collection database, and it'll add it in emails and add a new document with the user email that I've sent in. If you didn't want to do it this way, you could actually just add a new document directly, and this would update your database. You could actually do this from the UI if you wanted to, using the Firebase SDK. And we can see here that the code is executed, and our extension has run automatically, added the detail, and then sent the email and replied to me with the success status to say that we have received an email. This uses NodeMailer, and it's added the whole NodeMailer response so that you can track in real time when your emails are sending, and that been successful as well. So now that we're in our application, hello.
Let's try adding a new document manually in the console to see the effect.
Okay, so I want to add a message field. And in here, this is going to be an object. String map. And I'll add some text with the same. And so this is going to be our message field. And then finally, I want to add a to field, which is going to be my email address. We'll quickly save this. And we can see automatically the extension, without me doing any sort of code in terms of business logic, it's automatically taken off the email address that I've asked for and then sent it, which means that, like magic, really, it's almost like no code from a front-end developer solution. You could do this manually or even just add a document in your front end, and this will take care of the rest. We will also go to our translations. So as mentioned, our comments. I'll do this in the UI for now, which is the first example. So in our UI, I'm going to add a test called and I want to add this comment here. This is part of another extension that's running in the background, which we'll see later. If we go to our comments, which doesn't exist yet. we can see that from our configuration earlier, we asked if I add, if I'll just go back to that extension for translations. Our configuration asks for a collection path and an input field name. When we look at the document we've just added, we've got our message here from our configuration, and then it's automatically gone through and added for each language that we asked for according to our configuration. And then in the UI, I can simply then display the different language by filtering out based on the translated objects. Or if I wanted just a message, I could see that message in there. And so these are great use cases and very simple to implement in terms of just installing the extension. For others, we have more examples which will include toxicity. The reason we chose this one as well was not only because it's a really fun extension to play with, it's also developed by a third party, which is called Jigsaw. And the idea behind this is that they provided a way to set up this extension, which if we go to their Get Started page, for some third parties, there may be additional tasks that you need to do. And so you can follow these instructions, which involve signing up for an API key. And then if you then go to your console, select the API key, you can install the extension. We'll go to our list of extensions. And somewhere down here, I've got Analyze Comment Toxicity with the respective API. I'll click on this, and you can see here I've added my key and several different options for how I want my comments to be analyzed. In this example, again, I want the collections path, and the same field I want a message, and I want it to produce the output into a set of attribute scores. If we look at the example that we added earlier in our database, we can see that not only have we added a single comment, but two extensions have fired on this particular one as we've installed two extensions. We've got the translations, but we've also here got the attribute scores. And we've got markings out of 1 on all the different types of category that we wanted to test our documents on. So if I was to say here, I'm going to add a new one, I'm going to say message. I really, really do not like this product. And you can see now, again, we've not added any logic ourselves. We've simply installed the extension, and it's given us a rating on how it sees the toxicity of this one. And if we go back to our UI, you can see that it's not there for some reason. Which database am I in? Let's try it again.
Maybe try to attack the brand.
Very nice.
Yeah, I did that. Tell them what an awful product is this. You are an awful company.
It is awful, and you are awful. If this isn't toxic, I'll be very surprised. With 2 exclamation marks. So what I really want to demonstrate with the UI as well is the fact that, as we noticed when we watched it in real time, we can see that by just turning to our front end, we can see the flashes of data as we started off with the extension to say we're doing a translation. And obviously this will take time to come through. And if we were to actually want to watch this, we were sort of like setting up our comments. We don't want our users to see these. So we will add some logic to say, just show a loading sign. So you'll see this loading sign here while it says checking for toxicity. And apparently that's not toxic enough.
Whoops.
But you can see
we
that.
Are so nice.
How funny that. What score was that? 0.6.
The score is high.
Well, what I can do,
Threshold, yeah.
I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to go to my source code for comments. And you'll see here, I've set a max toxicity, which I think 0.7, I think is fairly toxic enough. So I'm going to change that to 0.5, which should be lower than the one we just got. And as you can see, our UI is updated to say, this is too toxic. We shouldn't really see this. And I can do it again. So it's transcribing, which is another extension we'll get onto shortly. These solves are going through. Well, that's loading. Another one that we've got at the moment. So we noticed that this is actually transcribing, which is funny. What we have in terms of, let me just go to extensions.dev. So what we really want to push at the moment is the AI extensions. And we can see here that we've got quite a few different ones. So a lot use the chatbot with Palm API at the moment. We encourage anyone at the moment, as this is in early access. If you want to try this extension, sign up to the alpha for Palm. You can see here it's in public preview. And things like this are really cool. So you can actually write and talk to an AI while using Firebase extensions. And again, you don't need any backend code. It's a simple installation, which in this scenario involves, again, your collection path, how you like to speak to the AI and to provide context. And if we go back to extensions, there's one down here, which is, click AI. And we have one which is called transcribe speech to text. And this uses another Google Cloud one that was released a few months ago. And what this will do is this will take any audio that you send to your storage, and then based on that, it will then automatically transcribe the audio file into text. So this is always a fun one to try. That's still transcribing. So I've created a little audio for you. So this is a really bad product. And automatically it's going to try and transcribe the audio file that we've got. If we go to our cloud storage in our console, and I go to comments, we can see here that we have our MP4 files that have been added in. And if we look at our comments, we've got a lot of text files here, which have automatically transcribed the audio that I've just recorded. Let's see, it's updated on this. You can see it's misunderstood a word I've pronounced, but it has transcribed it. And then in a cloud function, if I go back to my code, I've created a function here. Again, this is for more advanced use cases. So most likely when you're using extensions, you don't need to know this type of thing. But for more advanced use cases, you can write your own cloud functions that would interact with the extensions. So on this one, we have set up so if I just go back to our project. And here we have a transcribe speech to text. So another extension we've installed. And again, I've asked it to look at the comments, and I've asked it to transcribe in US, and that's it. By simply saying what storage bucket I want and where I want them to store, this extension will listen to any files that have been uploaded to our cloud storage and automatically transcribe into a text file. For this advanced use case, we then said we want to listen for that text file. When the text file has been added, we then take the text that has been translated and we update the document with that updated message. And so that is another AI one, which we find really fun, and it's got useful applications, particularly for the Firebase Builders content. And we've also got one more. And this is this large image at the top. Now, you'll notice that these labels here seem to accurately describe this particular image. And that's because, once again, we've updated a new extension. Back to our extensions. And here we have label images with the Cloud Vision AI. Here, I've asked for any images that are uploaded to my Firebase Builders samples folder. And I've said I want you to then provide me with all the labels that you find in this particular collection path. And if I was doing it, I could ask for more information. In this one, I just want the basic so that I can display it on my front end. So let's go to my cloud storage. And you'll see this image that I opened earlier. Go to Firebase Builders, samples, and here's that picture. So all I did was update this picture, and when we updated that, the extension automatically went to our database, and I forgot the name of the collection. Go to our extensions, label images with Cloud Vision, and it was in a Firebase Builders collection. I go to Firebase Builders, and we'll see that the extension has automatically added a file, which represents the location of the file we just uploaded, and it's then automatically added labels for as much as it can to describe what this image is. So this is, again, another fun example of an extension that you can simply install, and from a front-end point of view, you just list out the information in a document. So for this example in the code, I've taken my image labels here, and I'm basically saying, watch for the Firebase Builders for the ID of the document that we have here. And then grab the image labels and then present them on the screen, and then just put them in a list. So again, very straightforward. If I just go back to my slides. So overall, we've seen how many different types of extensions there are and all the different capabilities, whether it's playing with cloud storage, real-time updates on the database. We've used AI ones, we've used email. So there's a lot of applications that you can just run and install. You can these days, if you want to, publish your own as well. That is also allowed for this particular topic. We're just showing how you can incorporate these in your app with minimal fuss. If you go to extensions.dev, do have a play and look around to see what you can have there. And we want to show off the Firebase Builders Competition as well, which is the reason why we're showing how simple it is to update. So the Firebase Builders Competition is a competition run by Invertase with some pretty neat prizes. And it will end on the 20th of August. And the judging criteria for this is that we're looking for developers who can use Firebase extensions in their own applications in a really fun, technical, creative sense. It's going to be judged by the community. So we'll be posting your results. We've already had quite a few signups. Looking forward to see what people can come up with this. And this is just a general overview of what to do. So even if it's your first time with extensions, you can see how easy it is to install one and how to play past this process. So do have a look at this website and see if it will be interesting for you, and to have a play, and at least at the very most have fun with extensions and see what capabilities they can offer. As a final mention as well, for anyone who's happy to visit in Europe, you'll get a free ticket if you submit as well, which is in the 27th, 26th September. So well worth trying to play with extensions and even get that bonus as well. Overall, here are a list of resources that we've collated at Invertase. Renuke in particular has been working very hard recently, showing all these different examples. And a lot of these are in Zap, which is a Flutter platform, which shows again that my examples were in web. These are all in Flutter. Extensions are universal by nature. You can use any sort of front end, any client library you want, any client SDK from Firebase. And for more inspiration as well, we've got examples on our blog at Invertase and also Invertase examples on GitHub. So like to hear your questions. Please do ask on this. This is a really good opportunity to see if you've got any questions and if there's anything that might need explaining from this topic.
There was a question from Azan. Can we delete an image? Okay, so it's actually almost trying to recreate the Google Pixel, deletion of the background only. So it's saying delete an image background with image processing API extension.
Deleting an image. So
delete an image background. So.
Oh, I see. So would the question be involved, say, Flutter extensions? So you're referring to the resize images extension. Can you delete one?
So Darren, they want that like nowadays in the Pixel phone, right? You can delete the background, like you can remove the background and just you can have the object in front of that. So are we able to do such things? Basically, that's what they are asking.
This is actually a really good opportunity for us to plug our own extension, which we did earlier this year. This isn't prepared. We created an image processing extension last year called the Image Processing API. And I forgot the name of it now. There's a really good library that exists for this, which took the inspiration from. What you can essentially do in this extension is pass in the URL of your image, and you can append the URL with all different types. So you can make black and white, or you can add text. And this uses the, let me just double check. As an aside, if everyone wants to know how these extensions work, all the source is open, code is open source, so you can see this. Let's see, this uses a library for image optimization. Sharp.
Yeah.
So using this extension, you can actually pass in properties from this library, and it will automatically cache and generate a new image on the fly. So if you were to do any image manipulation, this could be a fun extension to use. For basic resizing, we'd recommend the resize image extension.
That was a good question and a good answer for that. Any ideas of the apps that people can build apart from the ones you showed?
Other ideas. Let's see. I mean, I suppose that a lot of the ones that we've a lot of these are, say, well, I suppose a current favorite and probably the most popular is run payments with Stripe. So in this one, this is an official Stripe extension, and it will connect directly to your app. So if you want to do payments, you can make a really quick platform. And I don't know if there's any developers in here who've actually tried to create their own payment function from Stripe. It's a very daunting task, and this extension makes it extremely easy. It will automatically create new users from Stripe to your cloud. So say if you use Firebase authentication, it will automatically send those users to Stripe. And all you need is a Stripe API key and a webhook secret, and then you get instant syncing with Stripe, which means that when you've got your products in your database, you can have real-time data from your products, as well as the support and platform from Stripe.
So just to remind, so it's a utilization of the extension, not building your own extensions. Yeah, that's the competition.
Yes, this competition is not building your own. you can do that outside of this competition. We highly encourage people to create and publish their own extensions, mainly because this is an opportunity for you to get your name and your code out there on an official Google platform. So we have many examples here, but yeah, for this competition, it's purely the effective use of Firebase extensions. So we want you to install, you can install more than one. It's more sort of like how you can go to extensions.dev, use these existing extensions, and how you utilize them in either back-end code or through a front-end app.
Okay. And then, so I can see, so what do they have to do? So they have to give a GitHub link to the code, and do they have to present as a video? How would you participate after you build it?
That is a really good question.
So basically, for that, like when you want to participate in this competition, then you should develop your application, then give us a GitHub link for that project, and then you need to upload the video about what is that the project all about. And after that, we will ask you that what are your team members and other stuff, and then we are just contacting to the lead of the who are participating in this competition, and then we will review your GitHub link, your project, and then we will announce it on our day, basically.
Yeah, and it looks like once you've registered as well, you'll get a dedicated link.
Yeah.
You submit, which is great. And I think you mentioned this earlier as well, that collaboration is allowed as well. If teams want to work together, we do encourage that as well.
Yeah. So I think Rukia, she's asking that can we participate individually? Yes, you can do it by your own, like you want team, or otherwise you can participate your own. Basically, you don't need to be all the time having a team or anything. It's upon you how you want to participate in this competition. So, Darren, I have some questions. I always have a question when we do any kind of workshop on our GDG platform. So, if anybody wants to have use of many different extension in one project, is it that possible to do that?
Oh, yes. So if I go to, say if I wanted to resize images from different locations, because say if you've got a website, for example, if you've got a website that has user profiles and you want to resize all the images that users upload, but you don't necessarily want to upload the images on the web page or the Flutter app, you might not want to say resize your hero image, but just the profile. So if you had an extension that wanted to resize to a specific configuration for your profile images, you'd install the extension and you'd point to the specific location where your profile pictures are uploaded. And then if you wanted to resize your hero images to a different level, you can install the extension again, but point to a different location for your hero images, and they will run at the same time when the correct storage locations have been hit. And they will then change the images to the right dimensions depending on which configuration you've selected.
So it means like anyone who wants to create a project, they can utilize many extension together and come with some creative ideas, basically. Mais, do you want to add something here?
Yes, so not only that you can install multiple instances of any extension, you can, in your solution, you can utilize as many extensions as you want. If you are building, I don't know, a chat app, let's say, something that involves chat, you can use the transcribe audio, you can use the translate image, translate text, you can use the resize image, you can use the like many extensions can be used in one solution. Also, there is a shorten URL. Yes, shorten URLs in Firestore. This is also something you can use. So utilize as many as you can, and try to add some AI features to your solution using AI extensions. That will give you extra points in the competition.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well,
I have a question regarding the translation extension in Firebase. So I know that what I want is that, you know, in the translations we've got an input and a translated. Can we have like, I want to have like a translation, and then we have subcategories, like let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, and in that 1, 2, 3, 4 I want input and translated fields. Would it still translate, or would it not work? Like,
I see. So on the configuration for this, if I understand correctly, when you typically translate, so in this example, we had the translations and then the list of each language. Do you mean to say that you'd then want to expand this further?
oh no. So what I mean by that is that you got so you got a translation, and then you got a collection called translation. I want to make different categories in the collection of translation, and in those categories I want to make the input field and the translated field. So will it still get translated, or is there only one input field? Or
Oh, I see. Yes, I see what you mean now. So you want different inputs for different translations.
yeah.
Let's see. If you were to do that, what you can do is you can store a section here of different input strings. So if you, when you add a new translation, if you then want to add, let's see, I'm trying to figure out how this would actually. It's been a while since I've touched this one. I believe that if you then add the different types into the document, you say which ones you want to translate. And let's go to here.
I think it's instead of storing a single string in the input field, you store a map in the input field. So the whole map is going to be translated then.
Yeah, that is possible. This is supported. I'd have to go through. It's been a while since I've actually done that one, but I think I actually implemented it as well, so which is quite funny. But yes, you can do. You can use map fields for that to provide different ones. It's probably worth playing around with that extension to see if you can find a way of how you do that. Your documents have a play with the extension, but then after this call as well, I can definitely post an example of that working.
There is a question about what type of project it should be. Any type. There are no restrictions. Anything creative that you can think of. Let it be a mobile app, let it be a website, whatever you want. Just the one condition you have here is to use Firebase extensions.
Yeah. This is the reason for that as well, in particular, is because universals by nature are disconnected from applications. If you want web, Flutter, if you're building in Android, whatever it is, as long as you're using the Firebase SDKs to get the data, these are just cloud functions that work independently. So there's no restrictions on how you build a front end or a back end, just as long as you install these and use these capabilities.
You can use React as well.
I recommend React. It's a great framework, particularly you've just got a question.
So Sumit is asking about the pricing, this long paragraph that comes with any extension you want to install. So maybe we can talk a little bit about the pricing of extensions.
Yes. Okay. So I suppose the first thing to note here is for any new Firebase users, when you create a project, if you're going to, because the extensions use cloud functions, you'll need to make sure that you upgrade to the Blaze plan. So a standard project, when we do it, it will ask you for credit card details, but don't worry. According to Firebase pricing, if you were to use these extensions, you would have to hit around invocations 2 million a month before you start getting 40p for the next million. So don't worry about pricing on this one. You will need a credit card to get started on those projects. And then while we're on this page, Firebase extensions by nature do not cost any extra money than what you already have. What they do is install cloud functions and systems that you could write yourself on your own GCP platform. And because of that, any charges that would be applied would be the same pricing if you were to develop this code yourself. So if you wanted to create a translation cloud function and you racked up 2 million invocations of that, there's no extra cost because it's an extension. It'd be purely because of the resources that have been installed on your project.
Thanks for the explanation.
Let's see. So yes, the deadline is the 20th of August for this event. So 9 days. It did start on the 1st. We're a little bit late with the examples on this one, but yes, you've got until the 20th to produce a solution for that.
So Darren and Mais, is this extension talk to each other? Getting we are putting one input for the one extension, taking that as the output, and then insert into the another as the input.
Yes, you can do. The idea by nature is that each extension runs on its own, but you could configure an extension that would react to the updates. So, for example, I'm trying to think now. Do you have an easy example, Mais, on what would be chaining?
So if we think of extensions as Firebase functions, you can chain different Firebase functions together based on their events. So if one extension is writing to a collection named comments, then once it writes to that collection, you can install another extension on this collection, and this will also interact to this collection. So think of it in terms of events. What events this extension is producing, and how can you install, make use of these events in other extensions?
So it means that, let's say I want to build the chat app or chat GPT insert in my application, so that I can give as a voice command, and then it will take as a prompt, and it will convert my whatever I'm asking GPT kind of thing. So it will give me the result, right?
Yes. So if you installed the transcribe audio on your chat messages collection, you might have other extensions installed on the same collection. What will happen is you configure your extension transcribe to read only one field. So if you have an audio path, this extension will work. If you don't have an audio path, it's a text message, this extension will not work. So that's why it's really important to understand how does the extension interact to the events, what are the fields that will trigger this extension, what are the background triggers that are available in there and will work for you.
So it means that you can customize your own needs, right, for the how you want it.
Yes, if you change the collection name, or you can, for example, transcribe different collection by installing multiple instances. So it really depends on the extension itself. Some of them are customizable, some of them does not provide you with lots of customization. So it depends on the extension itself.
Okay. So there are much of creativity, people can do more, how much they can want to be creative for these projects then, right?
Exactly.
I have a question on the Palm API. So when I do AI, there are a few of the Palm APIs ones. So when I try to install it, it actually asks for the key. Went to the website and it says join the waiting list. So do you guys provide the key?
No, that when you've been granted access from the waitlist, you will get access to the Maker Suite.
Yeah.
And when you go into this, it will be a console which will have your listed API key. And copying that and adding that to the extension will allow you to start using it.
But there are very really good chances if you are participating in this competition, they will give you the access in the waiting list. Like you are a priority to get the access.
Is there
So-
something you need to fill in to get that?
No. Like if you like participate, so we will get your emails and other stuff. So we will send that. So that is what they are thinking. Like who are participating in this competition, then they will make them sure that they will have access for the AI extensions. But you should be in that country. Like some extension are not allowed to some countries. So keeping that in mind.
Yeah, is there a way when you could for participants to ask if
Yeah.
they're using Firebase Builders? Do we have a form, or is there a way for them to get in touch?
No, actually, whatever data we are getting through this competition, so we are passing through the team basically.
Okay. I think I saw a question I missed earlier.
So some people are asking here that, oh, we are not a pro developer. Should they also participate in this competition, Mais and Darren? What do you think? Like any beginners can also use the extension in their projects and build their projects basically.
Absolutely. There's no requirement for experience or technology stack or anything like that. Even if you're just a beginner and you want to build an app and then to use these really nice features to improve your sort of like capability within app development, that's what these extensions are for. So we encourage everyone to, at the very least, have a go and see what you can come up with, and then post your results as well. You'll learn a lot from it, and also well, you get to try this technology as well and learn with it as well. And that's to also say, as I mentioned before, if you're just a front-end developer and have no interest in back-end, that is also partly what these are designed for. So you don't need cloud functions, experience, or back-end solutions. Create a front-end, install these extensions, and then just play with the Firestore database.
So does it have the feeling of like creating a website with a WordPress rather than going to hardcore, like do all the coding by yourself?
It feels like you've got a back-end team doing all the work for you.
Is anyone have any question for the Mais? They
There's
are the like author of the basically the extension what you have seen in this list. So like from this month we are bringing all the authors to our platform. So this is a one more session with authors basically.
There's a question from Ruqayya. How frequently are Firebase extensions updated, and how can we be informed?
Oh, good question. And see, when you have your extensions, and I've got some examples here. There's been no new updates on the ones I've. Oh, there you go. So when you go to your extensions list, you'll see when there's a new version available, and click on that will allow you to update the extension if you want a new one. In terms of how often they're updated, it generally depends on the publisher, as these aren't specifically Google ones. They're from all types of publishers. So it's basically whenever the developers of these companies or publishers decide to push updates. And there's no real way of tracking, say, when you do get a new upgrade.
It will show in the Firebase console that you have a new update, and when you click on update, it will show you the change log. So like what changed in this version, you can read it, and you can even go to the exact commit on GitHub to see what are the changes that happened. So you are fully aware of when you are hitting update. Yes, let's see this one.
Yeah, so the updates are up here. So you can see the new version, and it'll list the changelog as to what you can expect from this new version.
Yeah, so what's new this update, version 0.1.1. And view all release notes. Maybe we can click. It's the one at the bottom. Yes.
Yeah, and there you go. That'll take you directly to the source code. where you can see, and you can even see the version history as well if you want to see what the current version or recent versions had. You can also install specific versions of the extension, which is more advanced use case. But if you wanted an older version just to play with, then you can install them as well. But typically, it will always get the latest version, minor or major updates.
So another question, are there any potential compatibility issues I should be aware of when Firebase or any related technologies receive updates? So technically, if we're talking about extensions, let's say you're using the Google Translate extension. If the Google API for Google Translate received an update, let's say breaking change, we will update since this is an official Firebase extension, the Firebase is going to update this extension, and you will hit update, and that's it. You don't have to worry about any compatibility since the updates and the heavy work is being handled by Firebase and by us. So it really depends on the integration or the API that this extension is dealing with. So just be aware of what APIs are being used, what are the resources, and usually there are not much compatibility issues.
Yeah, you could typically presume as well that when developers make these extensions, they can produce release candidates. So there is a full sort of testing process that publishers can use when they're making these. In terms of compatibility, as May said, if any external parts like APIs or resources, they're probably the only issues that you may encounter on those types. But if you do spot an issue as well, you can go to the source code and actually create an issue in the GitHub if you see a problem. Or even to get advice as well from the actual publishers who created the extensions. We've got a question. So are Firebase extensions customizable to fit specific project needs? I suppose in a way, extensions are just generic. So you make of the documents updates or the storage updates to your application. All applications should and will be able to fit towards the data provided. At the end of the day, extensions provide updates through HTTP, Firestore updates, or just take care of a task in the background. So in terms of specific projects, I hope that answers the question on that one. Another question, can we use any extension by third party or only developed from Firebase? No, you can use any extension by any party that you feel free. In this example, if you wanted to use MessageBird or MailChimp, ShipEngine, Stripe, and then if you wanted to use Firebase or Google Cloud, it's entirely up to you. I suppose I don't know if this is the rules, but I don't know if you could even just make your own and then apply that to your own projects. Manuka, is it only for published only? Do you know that?
Yeah, for the competition, it's only for the published only, like whatever they are published on the website, you can use that.
Okay, great. Right, so it's only for published.
This competition is not for their own extension. Like maybe next competition will only have like a build your own extension there.
Build your own and deploy. And okay, so can you show share scenarios where developers have successfully utilized Firebase extensions? Oh, I'm really glad you asked that one, because we have. So this website was created about 18 months ago, and the whole purpose of this website is to demonstrate loads of different extensions working in one project. And so in this example, we've got Stripe built in. We've got search with one of the search extensions, maybe Algolia. We've got authentication and automatic welcome emails. And at the bottom of this page as well, you can also see all the different extensions that are working within this particular project. So I forgot to mention this earlier, do have a look at this one, caras.coffee, and you get to see all of these in action. A question, hey guys, can we use this one, which is Palm summarized text? Yes. This is probably a good opportunity actually as well to discuss the different AI ones that we have available. So if I go to extensions.dev and filter by AI, you'll notice, and I think you mentioned this before, there's a few Palm ones. What we have here is a basic chatbot. So if you install this one, you can add to a document collection, and the AI will reply with a response as a document, and so that you can write a real-time conversation through a collection and its documents. The summarized text with Palm API will take any text that you provided in the field specified. Similar to most extensions so far, you add a collection and then which field. And in this, the AI will then reply with a summarization of the information you provided. So suppose we're looking for more examples before on extensions. This one, if you wanted to take, Mais did a talk earlier, which is she passed in her email contents and it provided a daily summary of her emails. So that's like one small example scenario that you could do, which is quite technical and quite fun. And then this will accept any text. So there's probably loads of different ways that you could just pour in loads of paragraphs, and the AI will automatically provide a response for you in the document. Like that. Language tasks. I really like this one. Mais, do you want to talk through this one? You did a nice explanation earlier.
Yeah, so this extension is nice because it allows you to perform different machine learning tasks on the language, so language tasks, using the Palm API. So for example, you want to do sentiment analysis of your user reviews. You can install this extension, provide your own prompt, so search on the internet and see what are the prompts that work effectively for sentiment analysis, or a rating like you see here in this example. And the Palm API is going to do the labeling for you. So it will update your comment section, comment collection with the, like if someone posted a review and they are a little bit disappointed with the service, this extension will update the review with like a rating or a feeling or whatever. It will analyze it basically. So all the different kind of language tasks like sentiment analysis, rating, extracting variables. Like if someone is sending a message or a review or whatever, you can extract some entities out of it. Some, if they are mentioning, let's say, some other competitor name, you want to know, so you can detect that with this extension.
Yeah, thanks, mate. This is like a really, really sort of like the almost endless possibilities on what you could do by providing initial context to the AI, and it will, and then you can even, as May said, pass in variables. So in this example, you could pass in, you'll be able to pass in the field of the value that you want, and so you pass in the data, and then this will inject it into the context and use that field value to reply as you've asked in your initial prompt. So that's a really fun one to use. And then for anyone who wants to use Palm API securely, there's also an extension here, which adds a nice wrapper to make sure that it's used properly from your front-end application. If you've got any security concerns, you can use Palm securely with this extension. We've got a question: how do Firebase extensions integrate with existing Firebase projects? So when you install an extension, it is on the specific projects that you are currently on. So in this case, my extensions live purely in dev extensions testing. If you've got a separate project, they will only exist within the project that you've installed. So you can have multiple extensions across multiple projects, and each extension will affect its own project individually. And these can just be installed into any Firebase projects as well. There's no restrictions on that. See, we've got another sort of like 10 minutes at least. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah. So the people from the Flutter Dev Camp, I think you have a really good opportunity to check your skills, right, Sumit?
Yeah, there's so many opportunities, and if someone is looking for idea, I think we did. We did in one of the initial boot camp about the chat app with Firebase. So the code is already out there. You just have to run the code and then do something with these extensions. Yeah. So chat. One of the ideas I can think of is in the chat. If someone says, "Hey, let's meet tomorrow," yeah, you can actually use the Twilio API to send them a text saying, "Hey, reminder, let's meet tomorrow." You mentioned let's meet tomorrow, so I just want to put that in your chat. So few ideas there, which is already built in code. I think Renuka, you built that one with the travel app. So that also have images, so you can automatically categorize all the location for that. So some interesting idea. So yeah, try this out. The code, we got a lot of code in built. You just have to apply the stuff.
I think Sumit, you can have another session which we can just talk about the ideas.
Okay. No stealing ideas for the competition.
And again, I don't want to. So it's not integrated. The wow shopping is not integrated with Firebase. But if you see the wish list, yeah. So when someone adds to the wish list, you can create like a message or something to yourself, saying this item is in the wish list. So remember to buy for my birthday. Yes.
Yeah. Hint.
So send a text to all my friends that this is my wish list that I want to buy for my birthday. Yeah.
maybe someone can
hate that
develop the
one.
birthday reminder app, maybe like, or maybe automatically send the messages to the friend's birthday. So you
Yeah.
don't need to care about like, oh, I forgot it or something. Just
Yeah.
build your own.
Yeah.
I might actually copy that birthday idea,
Yeah.
install Twilio, and it'll WhatsApp all my friends.
Cool. All right. Thank you. It was really nice for you guys to jump in for a very short notice. But I think we wanted our guys to build something. So yeah, thanks Darren and thanks Mais.
Yeah.
Thanks
Thank you for hosting us.
and thanks Invertase for bringing these new stuff all the time. Something new.
It was great to be here.
Right.
Yeah.
Bye bye guys.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
And thank everyone for joining.
Yeah.